Move camera back a little bit. I don't know what I just watched. So, you see the title. I watched The Menu. Before I went into watching this, it was kind of a psychological, I don't want to say psychological thriller. It's one of the movies where it's like, you can't really explain what's going on. So, and like, honestly, I'm not confused by what happened. I'm more shocked. So, this is my recap and review of The Menu. Welcome back to Roddy's Reviews, man. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Seems like my videos are doing a little bit of traction. They're not doing bad, man. I really do appreciate everyone who comes through, watches the videos, even if it's for a few minutes, if you skip to the end, whatever it is. If you're watching the video, you're clicking on it. It's very helpful. Right now, I'm just not getting started with this, so I really do appreciate all the love and support. It means a lot. Let's go and get into this, man. So we have The Menu, and pretty much we start off with this couple, Tyler and Margot. They are about to board this boat with a bunch of other people who are a lot more high class, people who have money, things like this. And Tyler even mentioned that he paid $1,250 per person. So it's him and another girl to go to this thing. You know what I'm saying? They paid pretty much $2,500 to go eat at this place. They board this boat. The boat takes them to this island. The boat leaves. Red flag number one, right off the rip. You're not leaving me on an island by myself. You got me fucked up. Not happening. Red flag number one. Two, they go to check in with the receptionist, Elsa. No, I'm not talking about Frozen Elsa. No, the lady's name is literally Elsa. They go to check in with Elsa, and when Tyler gets there, they're checking in. She's like, okay, how you doing, sir? And then she goes to check in Margot. Well, he had the reservation under his ex's name. Red flag number two. Red flag number two. Seriously. Let's keep going. So we went ahead and we go into the restaurant. They're sitting down. Everyone's getting together. And as they're walking through, she's showing them like a tour of the island and things like that, a little bit of layout. And Tyler's like, hey, is that Chef's house? He's like, can we go there? And she's like, sir, even we're not allowed to go in there. I'm like, okay. I get it's your house. Little sketch. Red flag number three. Let's keep going. So at this point, we've sat down. We see the inside of the restaurant. They're sitting down. The cooks are back there. It kind of looks like Hell's Kitchen a little bit. If you've ever seen Hell's Kitchen, you kind of get a feel for what that's like. Like the kitchen's right there, and the restaurant's right here. You can see all the cooking going on pretty much. We start the movie off, and high class restaurants. This one is dealt in different courses. I mean, they serve you different courses on the meals. And I'm going to try to go down the courses as best as I can by what I remember. So. First thing we get is, I have to write this down, amuse bouche. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't. Sorry if I didn't. But it is this weird black rim. And imagine a black plate with the middle gone. And then salt around the middle. That's what this was. And it had like vegetables under it. Weird. It was odd. Pretty weird. So... didn't think nothing of it. People ate it, like, whatever. And you can just tell the cooks. And then, it's weird because, the chef does come out and introduce himself. This dude clapped and everyone stopped. All his workers, everything stopped. And he started talking. And every time he says something, they reply so fast. And they're like, yes, chef. And you're like, what the fuck? Whatever. And we see this weird older woman in the corner, just sitting there by herself. She's not dressed up like everybody else. The lady has on, a cardigan and a shirt. Not like rich people wear, for a high-class restaurant like this. She's sitting in the corner just chilling. Regardless. Let's keep going. The second course is called Breadless Bread. This motherfucker, bro. So he gave a speech before he put the course out and basically said that bread is one of the most popular foods, about how it came to be, where it came from, and how bread was the food of a common man. And apparently the restaurant was given 5 stars or rated really highly based on its bread. This motherfucker gave everyone a empty plate and called it the breadless bread plate and told them to eat up. I'm not joking. This is real. This is an actual movie. I'm not joking. This is an actual movie, guys. A breadless bread plate. I will be damned. The next thing they serve, he starts telling the story, and he eventually comes to find out. He eventually, the chef's talking that the lady in the corner is actually his mother, and he's giving sort of a story about how when he was younger, his father drank a lot. So one night his father got drunk and wrapped the telephone cord around his mother's neck and started choking her. And he said that he was screaming and crying. He was only a young child, and the only way to get his father off of him was that he stabbed his father in the thigh with kitchen knives, with kitchen scissors. Stabbed him right in the thigh with it. What does this motherfucker serve? This dude served a small chicken breast with kitchen scissors stabbed in the middle with tortillas on the side. And you know what the tortillas had on them? It was laser, it was like laser cut into, and it was pretty much showing the T of all the people that had done wrong shit. Like this older couple that was there was one of the people. They were showing pictures of like them, like it was got after a surgery or night in the town, and also showed it was like laser and cutting into their tortilla the guy with a picture of another woman, and his wife is like, what the fuck is this? He's like, oh, I don't know what that is. Motherfucker, yes you do. Yes you do. Then they were cut to another scene of these other three guys, and their tortilla has on it a bunch of wire transfer numbers from a Cayman Islands account, pretty much showing that they were doing fraudulent shit and they were getting caught for it. Another person, he's a big actor, and his tortilla had laser cut it into it a picture of a movie that he starred in. Whatever. And Tyler and Margot's Tyler's tortilla had actually laser cutted a picture of him taking a picture of his food, because he was simply asked not to take pictures of the food. They asked him not to do that, and he did it anyways. Motherfucker, they told you not to. But it's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I'm confused as hell at this point. I'm sitting here like, what is this movie? I don't know what this is. Next course. They called it The Mess. The Mess. This shit was fucked up. Pretty much, in a nutshell, this chef brought out one of his cooks, pretty much looked this man in his face and said, you want to be like me, don't you? You're talented, but you ain't me. You want to be like me so bad, don't you? And the chef's like, and the guy's like, yes, chef. And I'm sitting there like, he is like criticizing this man in front of a bunch of other people. What the fuck's going on? And they laid out this white mat. If you have ever seen anything, you know when a white mat goes down, what they're trying to do or what's about to happen. Because I knew what was about to happen when I seen that white mat go down. I'm like, oh no. The chefs back in the kitchen pull curtains. They pull these clear curtains, closed them, and this chef put a gun in his mouth and shot himself. I don't know what I was watching at this point, y'all. They called it The Mess. This was the course called The Mess. And in the movie, if you ever watch the movie, you'll see that they'll show every course and show what's in the like what the meal's made out of. In the description of The Mess, it said bone marrow. What the fuck am I watching? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like shocked at this point. The fourth course is called Man's Folly. They took everybody outside in front of the restaurant. No shit, this is real. Took everybody outside from the restaurant. And this one of his other chefs, who's a female chef, she gets up and she's like, so my name is, I think his name was Kimberly, something like that. And she was like, Chef Julian here, because that's his name, Julian. She's like, Chef Julian here has tried to sleep with me 2 times in the last 6 months. And after the second time when I told him no, he ignored me for 8 months, because that's the kind of man he is. I'm like, oh, all right. It's kind of odd, whatever. So, and she pretty much says, now's my time. And I'm like, what? She takes kitchen scissors and stabs the chef in the thigh. And bruh took it. And she hugged him. I'm like, what the fuck? So she took the knife, he took the scissors out, he dropped them, and he turns back to them and says, all right, men, you have 45 seconds. Head start. After 45 seconds, my guys will come and catch you. And I'm like, what? So all of a sudden, all the men start running, except Tyler. The whole movie, Tyler has been very obsessive with this chef. He told Margot to shut the hell up, stop acting like a kid, stop being this way. Tyler's a dick at this point. He's one of those rich, privileged dicks. He is so obsessed with the chef, it's insane. So All the men run. Tyler didn't leave. Tyler's still standing there. And Chef's like, no, you two, go. Tyler didn't even run. He walked off. Kind of just casually walked off like it wasn't shit. What the fuck? So, walked off, whatever. And eventually, all of Chef Julian's workers come catch him. They caught all the men and brought them back. And one of the side meals they serve, he gave to one of the other guys, because one of the guys was a food critic with another food critic. I think he worked for a magazine, and he was helping a food critic taste the food. That was one of the other people there as well. And he gave them a passport egg. I don't remember what was in it, but it was pretty much a reward for being the last person caught, which is crazy. Dude was hiding in a chicken coop. Bro was terrified for his life, rightfully so. So they brought all the men back. Whatever. You know, and it's crazy because I skipped a part in the middle of this because I forgot about this till just now. When, after the mess, they got up, after the dude shot himself, they're like, what the fuck's going on? This isn't funny no more. And one of the older guys, the guy that got caught, you know, on the tortilla with another woman, he's trying to get up, he's like, no, I'm leaving, I'm gone. And Elsa, the head waitress, she's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm trying to leave, I'm going, I'm not staying here no more. She goes, will you be proceeding with your left or right hand? He's like, what? He's like, your left or right hand? He's like, what are you talking about? She goes, okay, we'll pick left. And I'm like, what? They took this man's hand. They put his ring finger on the table. A chef walked from the back with a knife and cut it off. Just chopped his shit off. I am confused as fuck by what I'm watching. It's confusing as fuck. And it's like, what is going on? And, you know, it's crazy. So, after all that, there was another point in time where Chef Julian and Margot had a meeting in the bathroom because Margot had to go to the bathroom. I think it was a little earlier in the movie as well. It's kind of out of order. I apologize. Margot had a meeting. She was in the bathroom because she was just trying to get away from Tyler. She was smoking a cigarette. Chef Julian walked in. And he's like, who are you? And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, who are you? And she's just sitting there, and she's like, my name's Margot. He's like, your name's not Margot. We're like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? What do you mean she's not Margot? That's her name. And he's sitting there, he's like, you're not supposed to be here. He's like, why are you here? And she's like, I came on a date with Tyler. And pretty much, it's crazy, because he's sitting there just staring at her. Staring a hole through her. And then she's like, get the fuck out of my way. So he moves. Walks straight out. And it's very, very iffy at this point. And then, in another scene, Chef Julian calls for her again to come to the kitchen. And he's telling her, hey, look, you have two choices here. You could be with them, or you can be with us. Regardless of what happens, everyone dies here tonight. And she's like, what? She's like, he said, everyone here is going to die tonight. You could either go out with them or go out with us. Which one do you want to do? He set a timer for 15 minutes. He said, you have till the timer goes off. They head back. And in that time frame, he does this thing called the Falling Angel, which pretty much, Chef Julian does not own the restaurant. He's just an executive chef. A guy named Doug Varick owns the restaurant, and three of Doug Varick's guys are at a table. And those three guys are the ones that had the tortilla with the wire transfer shit on them, the shady shit. And he pretty much he turned the light on. Doug Varick is out there hanging. Dude has wings on his back, and he's tied up, just hanging there. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And dude literally made a signal, and they dropped Doug Varick in the water and drowned him. Dropped him in the water and drowned him. And then throughout the movie, he starts pinpointing reasons why he's doing everything. Pretty much, he didn't want Doug Varick no more because he criticized his cooking. He criticized the menu. Killed him. The food critic, she pretty much criticized him earlier in their life. Killed him. Well, actually, no, she didn't kill him. He didn't kill her. She's still alive. She's still sitting there at the table. She's just shocked. The older couple, dude got his finger cut off. He asked them, why are you here? And he asked them, how many times have you came to this restaurant in the last, how many times have you been here? And they're like, I don't know, 6 or 7. He said, you've been here 11 times. He said, you've been here 11 times. He said, name one meal you ate here. Couldn't name a meal. Neither of them could name a meal they ate there. He took offense to that. That's why they're there. That's why all that's happening. The actor, he goes to the actor. Actor's like, why is this going on? He said, you were in a movie called Dr. Sunshine, right? He's like, yeah. He said, it was a Sunday for me. A Sunday as a chef. I don't have many days off. That was my one day off. He's like, I seen that movie Dr. Sunshine and I fucking hated it. And he's like, I just acted in it. He goes, well, I associate your face with the movie. So, GG's. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bro's getting punished for acting in a bad movie? I'm like, what is going on, bro? So then, eventually, the chef's like, all right, before we move on, one more thing has to be addressed. He's like, Tyler, I want you to come up here with me. He called Tyler up. He gave Tyler a chef's jacket. He's talking to Tyler, this all this dialogue. He's like, you're a chef, right? He's like, you're all these things. He's like, you love food. He's like, you're here because you praise me, you love me. But he's like, you knew what this was when you got here, didn't you? He's like, yeah. He's like, you knew what was going to happen. He's like, yes. He's like, what did I tell you when you first signed up for this? He's like, you told me that the food would be amazing. It would be some of the best food I ever had in my life. He's like, yeah, I did. What else did I tell you? And Tyler's sitting there. He's like, and he doesn't say anything. And Margot's right across the table from Tyler while this is happening, by the way. And the chef's like, I told you everyone was going to die here, didn't I? And Tyler's like, yeah, you told me. And I'm just like, you knew that everyone was walking into some bullshit and you still went? And then not only that, you brought Margot here? A girl that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place? What the fuck? So he called him up there, gave him a chef's jacket. He's like, you're a chef, right? He's like, you know what? I want you to demonstrate for all of us how your cooking is. So, and at this point, Tyler starts to sweat. Because you know why? Bruh's not a real cook. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So he starts calling for these random ass ingredients like shallot and leek and a lamb. And he cooks up this raw ass food that wasn't even really anything. It fed it to the chef. The chef took a bite and said, wow, this is really bad. Tyler's just sitting there, sweating like a motherfucker. Tyler's terrified at this point. And he looks at him and he says, well, you know what this is? And he leaned over, whispered something in his ear. All of a sudden, Tyler took his chef jacket off, took his tie off. He went to the back. You didn't see him. Well, fast forward about 5 minutes later, the timer goes off for Margot. He calls Margot back. He's like, what's going to be your option? She's like, I'll stay with you guys. She's like, I don't know what to do. She's like, I guess I'll link up with you guys, I guess. He's like, you don't seem very sure of that. And they're just talking, and come to find out that she actually knows the older gentleman the guy got his finger cut off. She knows him. You know why she knows him? Because they actually had a date once where bro was jerking himself in front of her, and it was so uncomfortable because he made her watch him do it. What? Okay. Odd, but all right. So I guess she's staying with the chefs now. She goes back out to the lobby and back to the seating area, and he calls her back and he's like, hey, I'm looking around here before I go to my next course. Normally there's a barrel right here. I don't have that barrel here because my waitress Elsa forgot to grab the barrel. I need you to get the barrel. And he gives her the key, and she starts to leave out, and as she's leaving out, she looks over. All you see is Tyler hanging by a noose. Bro killed himself. Wild as fuck. She leaves. She's going to look through things, and she actually decides to get bold and goes to the chef's house. No one's been in the chef's house. No one's been inside of it. She goes in, she's looking through. The living room is an exact replica of the restaurant. It's weird as fuck. It's very odd. It's an exact replica of the restaurant, except there's a bed in there. That's the only difference. And then Elsa walks in, and she's like, you know you're not supposed to be in here. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. And Elsa's like, you're not taking my place. And Margot's like, what are you talking about? So they start fighting. Like Elsa cut Margot with a knife, and they're fighting with knives. Like a whole ass fight scene in the kitchen. And then eventually, Elsa goes to stab Margot, and like Margot does like this weird pivot twist and drops her down. And eventually Margot's like trying to stab her, but then eventually Margot stops, and Elsa just lets the knife go into her throat. Elsa pretty much killed herself. I'm like, what? Huh? Like, bro. What? So then Margot walks back, and she enters this silver door. She goes through the door, and it seems like a big room, a big private room. It has a bunch of chefs' private things. Even has a picture of him as an employee from like 1980s when he was a fry cook. He had like a picture. It was like him holding a spatula with a burger on it. He was an employee of the month at a restaurant. And she sees a radio, and she goes to call for the radio, and she does make a call, and then she heads back, and she throws the barrel in there. She goes to sit down, whatever. And as they're talking, all of a sudden they see a Coast Guard pull up. And he's like, Chef Julian's like, if you guys don't want to be responsible for the death of an innocent man, don't say anything. So the guy walks in. He sits there. He didn't sit there. He walked in, looked at everybody, checked everybody out. And he asked, is everybody okay? Then he notices the actor over there. And he goes to him, and he gets his autograph. Okay? And the note actually says, help us. And the guy turns around, he pulls a gun out. He's aiming all of them. He's like, all right, everybody get down. And all the people are like, oh my God, help us. He's trying to kill us. And he's looking at everybody. He tells Chef Julian, he's like, get down. He's like, hands behind your head, get down. And he's just sitting there with the gun towards him. And also he starts pivoting the gun towards Margot. And he's looking right at her. And everybody's like, what are you doing, dude? No. And this motherfucker, the gun wasn't real. The gun was a lighter. He lit a candle. It walked off back into the kitchen. Bro was working for Chef Julian the whole time. What the fuck? Oh my God. What's the point now? So, at this point, they're all like, wow, we're really gonna die. Every single person in that room had accepted that they were gonna die. They're sitting there like, wow, okay, we're gonna fucking die. This is it. So at that point, Margot gets bold. She stands up and says, you know what? I didn't like this food. I want the food to go back. And Chef Julian's like, why? And she starts going. They're going back and forth with this banter, and all of a sudden she's like, you know, I don't like your attitude here, and I don't like the food here, and I'm still fucking hungry. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, she's playing mind games with him at this point. And she looks at him and she says, I want a cheeseburger. Similarly back to that employee of the month picture. She's like, I want a cheeseburger. He's like, I'll make you the best damn cheeseburger you ever had. So he makes a cheeseburger for her. She takes one bite of it. She goes, wow, that's really good. Unfortunately, my belly's too full. My eyes are bigger than my stomach. I want it to go back. So he's like, okay. And he's stunned at this point. Because I think what's going on is that dude is hardwired to like serve people because he's a chef. So being that Margot wasn't supposed to be there, she wasn't part of the plan, I think that he legit sympathized with her because she wasn't supposed to be there. So what did he do? He gave her a to-go box in a goodie bag. What did she do? She put the burger and the fries in the box, put the box in the bag, and she started walking out. They gave her her jacket and everything. And she looked back at them, and one of the ladies was like, get the fuck out of here. Go. Just leave. Just go. And she got out of there. She started leaving. And eventually, the final meal comes up, the dessert. And all the chefs start pouring stuff onto the floor, making this weird thing. And they put these marshmallow things over them in a little chocolate hat. And he says, the final meal is s'mores. He's like, one of the most offensive meals I've ever seen in my life. He's like, and this is it. So what did he do? They poured champagne, alcohol all over the place. Margot's leaving out at this point. She's onto the Coast Guard boat that came there originally. She's on the boat. She's leaving out, and they're just sitting there prepping everyone to get ready. And all of a sudden, dude lights a match, and he said, "Thank you all," and they all said, and this is weird. He said, "Thank you all," and he asked a question. I forget the question was, but the chefs in the back and even the people in the lobby were all like, "Yes, chef." Everyone said it. Dude dropped the match. The place blew the fuck up. The restaurant blew up. Margot's on the boat leaving. She stops the boat. She looks back. She's watching the whole thing burn. And what does she do? She keeps eating the cheeseburger he made. And that's the movie. That was the menu. When I tell you this was one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my life, I mean that very literally. One of the weirdest movies I have ever seen in my life. Wow. So, that was the recap. Here's a review. That, it was interesting. You see, the thing about me is I like interesting movies. I like weird things. I like things that people, I like plots that give me a good plot twist. I like things that don't make sense sometimes. That's just me personally. That's my personal opinion of it. And it was insane because you didn't know, at one point you didn't know what was going on. That eventually everything started linking up and started making sense in a way. But even then, like, I feel like the only thing I didn't get was like why he chose to do that. Like he explained why everyone wronged him, but even then, like, I don't understand why. You know what I'm saying? Like, he explained why, but I don't understand why. Like, what happened to him as a kid? Why does he have so much trauma? You know what I'm saying? They didn't explain that much, in my opinion. Pretty much that was the recap. That's the review. It was shot beautifully, good angles, good plot twists, good story, a weird story at that. It's funny because, like, when I'll tell you guys about the courses and everything, they do show a course, like a picture of the meal, and in the corner they'll say the name of it and like what it contains and things like that, like I mentioned earlier. Like I said, it's a really interesting movie. It's just odd. I give it an easy 8.5 out of 10. I liked it. It wasn't a bad movie at all. It was very interesting, like I said. You didn't see some things coming. You didn't expect some things. But overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. Good movie. There wasn't anybody noticeably, like, I don't think there was anybody, like, any big actors in the movie or anything like that. But overall, not a bad movie. It was on, I watched it on HBO Max. If you guys have HBO Max, go check it out there. If you got a little bit of time out of the day, check it out, watch it. If you guys have any suggestions for me, anything you guys would like me to recap, review, anything like that, man, don't hesitate to drop it down in the comment section. Like I previously mentioned, I do appreciate all the love and support. I love how you guys are engaging with me, watching these videos, throwing some likes in here and there. It's very much supportive, and I do love that so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Roddy with Roddy's Reviews. We're out here, baby. You have a great day.